So for those of you who don't know, unfortunately, one of the side effects of Alzheimer's and dementia in our country has become youth caregivers. And this is unbelievably tragic, because these young men who are going to talk today about their personal account of their own time of caregiving with someone with Alzheimer's and dementia of a loved one is unbelievably sad. I'd really appreciate. I don't see them by the stage, so are they right here? Oh, good. Come on out, guys. Let's give a warm Boca welcome to AJ and Charlie Poole.
About 6 years ago, we went to see our grandma in Champaign, Illinois, just like we had done every vacation since we were born. It was fun. We ate out of her cookie jar, we raided her fridge, and then we went and played in the park across the street. We were just kids, 11 and 9 years old. Everything seemed normal.
But the thing is, this trip was not normal. She slept all day this time, and she hardly ever talked to us. It was clear to all of us that she wasn't doing very well. For Christmas, we learned a new word. She had Alzheimer's. My parents tried to help her stay in the house. She didn't want to go anywhere else, but the people my mom and dad hired were unreliable and wouldn't always show up. And nursing homes in Illinois had waiting lists that were years long or just really horrible. And Virginia options near our house were no better.
So we decided something had to be done. We turned our lower level rec room, a walkout basement overlooking a swimming pool and woods where dog walkers come by often, into her new home. So Grandma came to live with us.
The first Christmas was cool. It was a real family Christmas. Grandma loved Christmas. It was her everything. She helped decorate the tree, went to our Christmas pageant, and she even liked Mom's cooking, which was very unusual. Grandma loved to criticize a lot of the things my mom did.
On New Year's Eve, for no reason, she went upstairs into my parents' bedroom and parked herself in front of the television. We sat down next to her. She was smoking, using the soap dish as an ashtray, drinking Diet Coke, and eating cookies. In the end, those things, plus her dog, were her most important things. Diet Coke, cigarettes, and cookies. And we still have her dog.
Before Grandma, we would always used to have friends over. We would always have lots of food in the house. And our mom was a bit more relaxed than all the other moms. We would always invite friends over. It was the designated party house.
She would come upstairs and lie on the couch and smoke and swear. She would poke through any of the food we had in the kitchen or pizza we were currently eating. It wasn't good. We had to throw loads of food away. She even washed her hair in the kitchen sink while we had company over. Soon our friends stopped coming over.
Grandma was pretty aggressive with Mom. She would swear and yell a lot. Mom said Grandma was always like that though. But she started swearing and shouting even more with Alzheimer's.
She liked us though, so it was easier for us to take down dinner in the evening. One of us would take her dinner and the other would take her pills down to her.
We would have to learn how to get her to take her medicine. We would say, "Here's your dinner, Grandma. It's your favorite. It's chicken. But first, you have to take your medicine."
We would spend time with her in the evenings, but she normally didn't want to talk much.
To be honest, it could be quite boring, but she liked it. We would spend time in her room doing our homework just so that she could have us around her.
Then the disturbances started. They were usually at night. She slept all day for the most part.
The first night it happened, it was kind of exciting. being up past her bedtime late at night during the week, like an adventure. It was a new experience for us. And the next day was school, and we were tired, but it was okay.
But then it started happening 2, 3, or 4 times a week. My mom would go down first usually, and then me, and then AJ, and then my dad if it really got serious, because he's the grouchiest of all of us in the middle of the night.
Sometimes it would take 15 minutes. Sometimes it would take 2 hours. And sometimes we would be awake all night. It was erratic, random, and unscheduled. When we went to bed at night, we didn't know whether the night would be peaceful or not.
It also got a bit scary. She would scream for help all night, or she would break things. She would take out knives even though we thought we had hidden them all. She would slam cabinets. One night, we found she had turned the stove on and then put a pile of flammable things on top of it.
She didn't have a routine. Everything was very random. It was like taking care of an angry toddler. Sometimes she would forget who Mom was, who Charlie was, who I was.
Sometimes she would walk upstairs and then forget how to walk back downstairs. Sometimes she would lay on the floor screaming. Sometimes she would forget to walk. Sometimes she would forget how to stand back up.
Sometimes she would ask where her mom is, or her dad. What do you say to your grandmother when she asks where her mom is?
Sometimes it made me a bit angry because I was tired a lot. I don't like being angry.
Sometimes I wish we didn't have her around, but then I thought about the options. It felt a little mean. If it was me being cared for, I want to have the people who love me around me. It's better to have good family members, good food, your dog, and no strict rules like you have in a nursing home.
But it wasn't easy, and school didn't make it easier, even though they probably could have.
I tried to keep it a secret at school at first. I didn't know how to approach it. It did affect my grades, and I needed a tutor and extra lessons for a bit. I noticed that sometimes I got more aggravated than I usually do, although I'm usually very positive. We didn't know how long she would be with us.
There was a teacher at our school whose wife had Huntington's disease. He understood us, along with another kid we found whose grandma also had Alzheimer's. Our friends and family were very supportive, but that was about it. At school, they said it was a youth problem. Their problem was grades and sports, not stuff like this. No help or support was given, no allowances were made, nothing. When she died, we got plenty of support from friends and family. School was sympathetic when she died. I think they understand in that moment, the week when someone dies, but they don't understand for the 2 whole years that we were caring for her.
The first few days after she died were sad, but then she was done suffering. Like Charlie said, there is a little bit of happy in this, because for the last 6 months, she wasn't living. She was suffering. I think I'm stronger now. Little things don't get to me anymore. I think it's a plus. I can be there for other kids.
At least we managed it and learned from it. Other caregivers have it way worse than us.
Somebody asked me, is it fair that this happened to us? It can happen to anyone. It's better that it happened then rather than now, when we are in high school and our grades and our social life really are starting to matter. It will not stop us from doing good in real life. It taught me to have empathy. You never know what other people are going through.
There are over 1.4 million caregivers in the United States. Now, we can't tell the exact number, but what we do know is that most of them are not like us. We're the lucky ones. We learned about caring for people early on, about the dependence of people on each other, about the importance of life. We had some downsides. Sure, our grades might have been D's instead of A's, and our social lives did suffer, but as hard as it was, we had it pretty good.
Here are a few of the reasons why we had it easy compared to some of the kids who are caregiving in the United States.
It was our grandma who needed help, not our mom or dad. And there are plenty of other diseases out there that kids are caring for, such as PTSD, multiple sclerosis, cancer, and many more that have a different set of skills that you have to take care of. Also, both of our parents are living at home together.
Sure, we give up our awesome rent room, but at least she had a place in our house where she could live and have some privacy. She came upstairs sometimes and messed with our lives and our friends by smoking and swearing and poking her fingers in our food. But unlike many other kids, we had our own bedrooms and bathroom. Not everybody has that.
Grandma wasn't the breadwinner of the family. We were okay for money. We didn't have to worry about earning and buying the foods and medicines that we took down to her each night. Thankfully, we also didn't have to help with other little stuff, such as cooking and personal hygiene. Although we did see some things that kids our age probably shouldn't have seen.
We were young kids. We weren't doing life-defining college entrance exams.
We had Maria, a nanny who helped Grandma in the afternoons if she woke up then.
There's two of us.
And lastly, we had the chance to be kids again. Some don't.
When we look at that list, we think we are extremely lucky.
Now imagine if we had been older, like right now, having to do high school, earn money in a job, play sports, and care for someone all on top of it.
Because there are kids out there like that.
And their schools are probably also only understanding if someone dies.
We were only kids. We are older now, but we all need to figure out how to help the kids who are caregiving right now.
By that, we mean educators, state officials, legislators, etc. We should all be helping these kids who are caregiving. How is it any different from doing other volunteer work? Surely, kid caregivers learn just as much at home, unseen and unrecognized, as doing other things.
We didn't understand of how the details to do that in the real life. We didn't understand the details of how to do that in this world when we were younger, but now that we're older, we have some ideas to bring to the table.
We now understand that caregiving is not over when it's over. The effects still remain both good and bad.
We would like everyone to know that we are still healing from our experience caregiving for Alzheimer's. It's never left us. It never will. It's really important to understand how hard this can be for the kids.
So, our family is help advocating for kids who are caregiving youth. There are millions of kids in the United States who don't get support. However, in the UK, there are hundreds of programs helping to support kids in just these situations. But not here. The American Association of Caregiving Youth is one of the few. Other than that, they don't really have anything.
In conclusion, we are here spreading the message with Connie and the AACY to you, legislators, educators, healthcare workers, and the community.
Please, help us raise awareness for kids who are caring for Alzheimer's and so much more. Help us help the caregiving youth.
Because your support is vital in raising funds and spreading awareness for this devastating disease. Thank you.